Hello out there, you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into what will be the first time for YouTube and other platforms besides podcasting ones, questions from my Discord, which are just going to be questions from people subscribed or following my content, but I have to change the name somehow. Just questions from followers, I guess. Sorry for going through that little spiel there. But it's mostly because I want to be able to spread the questions out to more platforms, let more people hear the questions that are being asked. And on top of that, also make it more available to other people to hear. So I'm going to be spreading that out a bit. So the first question that I'm getting for a while from this, because I basically requested on my Discord for people to give me questions, and this is from Sleepy Otaku. What are your thoughts on games getting censored nowadays? Now that's a fairly loaded subject, mostly because I don't believe all censorship is bad. See, there's a fine line to walk with a lot of censorship, and I don't think all of it's bad, because some of it has its roots in the different sensibilities of different regions. Like certain words mean drastically different things depending on what part of the world you're in. So that's why I don't mind censorship that curtails, a game's language to the region it's in. I do mind censorship that changes the meaning of what is being said. So that's that I would say I have a problem with. Now, games being censored is not new territory. Games have been getting censored since their inception. It's just how they've been getting censored that has been different. And it's also different depending upon the platform that you're playing on. Like, take, for example, back in the day, the original Mortal Kombat, when it went to Sega Genesis, it had the blood in it. Because you had the cheat code that you could use to get the blood. Whereas the Super Nintendo version of the game did not have that effect at all. But going forward, I believe Mortal Kombat 2 forward, every other Mortal Kombat game had blood in it on the Nintendo platform. Or let's take, for example, Conker's Bad Fur Day. The N64 version of that game is vulgar and has a lot of stuff in it that got censored in Conker Live and Reloaded for the original Xbox. Now, I think if you beat the game for the original Xbox, then you can unlock the vulgarity again, but it's just something that happens. So it's one of those things where I don't mind things that can make a situation funnier if it is censored. But again, I also don't mind linguistic changes that just are more sensible to the region that the game is going to be released in. I don't like stuff like where we heard a while back where Fire Emblem, I think Awakening, it was either Awakening or no, it was the one after Awakening. I'm trying to remember. But you know the one with the Nor and see, now I'm forgetting the name of the game. But it was split into 3 parts that you could play. I do mind like stuff like that where it changes what certain things mean. Because even if we don't agree with the meaning of something, there's always lessons to be learned in certain things. It's something that's permeating itself outside of gaming as well, where things are being censored that shouldn't be censored, like how in the United States they want to treat slavery exactly the same as indentured servitude. Indentured servitude was a choice. I mean, yeah, you may have been treated similarly to a slave, but at the end of the day, you could still walk away with your freedom. And slaves were not necessarily friendly with the people that enslaved them, which kind of seems like a lot of the language that's going into like the censorship in schools is saying, as an example. So it's just one of those things to really think about and consider. There are multiple different examples of ridiculous censorship, and then not so ridiculous censorship. It just depends on what you're talking about. Now, in the general scope of things, I do not like censorship because I believe that the artist's vision should be seen for what it was supposed to be. And I'm not talking about graphics and all that crap where people say that. I'm talking about what they intended for the story, what they intended for the characters, what they intended for the meaning behind things. That's the type of censorship I cannot get behind. That's the type of censorship I have a problem with. Again, you may not like the meaning of something, you may not like the presentation of something, you may not like the story contents of something, but there are lessons to be learned in certain things. That's why you can't always censorship stuff just because it seems bad. Oh, well, we don't like how this looks, so we have to make sure that nobody knows what it means. We don't like how this looks, so we have to make sure that nobody can get the original meaning of the story without having to go back and actually translate it themselves. I don't really have a problem with censorship of blood and stuff like that, or like, sexual stuff being shown. I don't really care about that stuff being censored because it doesn't affect the quality of the game or the story. I wouldn't be pissed off if Dead or Alive stopped having jiggle physics, because it doesn't take away from the game for me. It may for other people, but it doesn't for me. I don't mind, hey, if they're going to throw Mai in a game that is outside of King of Fighters or Fatal Fury, that she may wear more clothing. I don't mind that. Now, plenty of other people will because of the character's original design, and I can understand that, but I personally don't. I don't mind that certain upskirt shots in games are more shaded in and shadowed in certain regions than not, because I'm not looking up a character's skirt to find out if they have a particular color of panties on. That doesn't bug me. I don't care about the bust slider in Xenoblade Chronicles X being taken out, because again, I don't care. I mean, hey, it's a fun option to have for some people, not a big one to worry about for me. But the flip side, if there are games that have a slider that lets you adjust the size of a man's penis, then you should be able to adjust the size of a woman's bust. Again, if we're being fair. Now, if you take both of them away, I don't care. But if you're going to add one, you better have the other. Fair is fair. So I guess in the long run, I don't mind censorship. I just mind certain types of censorship. I can mind the way something is censored versus the fact that it's censored. I think that's as close to a good answer as I can give. Not because I'm trying to be avoidant or anything, but I just think that there's no way to get around censorship happening, but there are ways to curtail how stuff can be censored. There can be guidelines made for how things should be censored or how things should be translated, versus somebody taking out a line because they dislike it without thinking of the full context in which it's being utilized. So again, that's where I think my line draw comes. I don't care that things get censored. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen because there are things that we can't all agree on. But if it impacts the vision or the original meaning of something, then yeah, I truly do have a problem with that. Because when you change the meaning of something, you're essentially feeding out misinformation from the source. You're changing what the source was. And that I can't get behind. I do not like that. I don't respect it. But that also happens. So, yeah, I think I'm done with my rambling. I think hopefully this is an adequate answer for you, Sleepy Otaku, because I can't really think of a better way to word it. And mostly because it's a very loaded subject. It is a highly loaded subject, but without me trying to drag it on to the nth degree, I think this is the basics of what I would have to say about it. But if anybody else has anything they'd like to say or add to it in comments or through Anchor's voice message system, please do. I'll listen and I will give responses to those things. But otherwise, thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, please enjoy your games. Peace out, everybody.